let's bring on our guests. I had an opportunity to spend the last, I was on a trip 2 weeks ago, maybe, and Wylie and I got to hang out. Then I got to see him a couple weeks before that in Vegas at Ignite. But Wylie's doing some big things. He's only 24 years old. You know, he's got a team that's doing $2 million a month. So how many people on here would like to have a team that's doing $2 million a month? You know, it all starts with producing at a high level. And that's something that Wylie does. He's always led from the front. Now he's growing a massive business. So I'm excited to hear him come on. I get to talk to him a lot, but I'm excited to have him on here and be able to talk to you guys, kind of share what he's doing and how he's been able to grow his business. So Wylie, you there, bud?
Yes, sir. How are you, Mike?
Good, man. How are you, bud?
Dude, living the dream.
Awesome. We're gonna just turn it over to you and let you rip and teach. Share what you're doing to build such a massive business. You can start
Sweet,
from the
sweet.
beginning because a lot of people here don't know you. We got a lot of new people on this call, so you kind of talk about what
Yeah,
you did from the beginning, where you came from, what you've been doing.
cool. Yeah, well, I'll give you guys the full rundown, but Mike, I love your guys' team. I actually took a lot of notes on how you guys run your calls, so you can always learn something from someone. And my goal today is just to give you one thing that can help you, give you an ROI of 3x on your sales or teach you guys how to get to the next level in your business. So for those of you that don't know me, I'll just give you a quick rundown. Typical college dropout story, 20 years old, trying to figure out a way to make, a good living. And I ended up starting in the life insurance space with a practice company. Thought it was the worst thing on the planet. Told myself I'd never do life insurance again. And by the grace of God, he introduced me to Family First Life and got started. And I'll be up front. I had a very hot start, started building at a really quick rate off the rip. But I got some things for you. So I got 3 quick lessons for those of you who are new. So who in here is within 6 months? If you guys just want to put a 1 in the chat. Been here for 6 months. Cool. Katrina. All right. Awesome. 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 I just kind of want to know like who my audience is.
There's a bunch coming through.
All right. So this is a great story. My first day ever walking to the office, I was trained by Zach Twardowski. And for those of you guys that don't know Zach, he's a very introverted guy and he's kind of came out of his shell now. But I walk into this office and there's no windows and it's super dark. And I'm like, dude, where the hell am I? And I go and meet this dude. I'm like, hey, man, nice to meet you. My name is Wylie. And my dad always taught me when you shake someone's hand, you stand up. Zach has his phone out like this and he's like covering his face. He's like, nice to meet you. And I was like, it's like, dude, this is the weirdest thing ever. We get to dialing and about 45 minutes goes by. I'm like, dude, let me ask you a quick question. How much money did you make last month? And he's like, and I'm like, no. Like, and I was like, I'm going to get it out of you. And the number he gave me was very, very close to 6 figures in a month. And I was like, okay, this guy can't look me in the eyes. Is probably the most introverted person in the world. And he's telling me he's making 6 figures, but I'm in a local county jail with no windows. I don't know. So I go into the next office and I see this guy, and you guys might think I'm super judgmental and that's okay. But I meet this dude that's wearing blue jeans, a belt buckle, cowboy boots. Dude, it looks like he rides like a donkey to and from work. And I'm like, what's your name? He's like, I'm Easton. And we start doing our thing. And I'm like, 30 minutes later, hey, Easton, how much money did you make last month? And he tells me, and it was close to 6 figures. Like, actually, no, he cracked 6 figures that month. He helped like 106 families. And so I thought to myself, I got the guy that's the most introverted person I've ever met. And I got the dude that rides a donkey to work and will probably a Ford pickup with a couple barrels of hay. And I know this is funny, but really what I thought to myself was, dude, why can't I figure this thing out? Because at the end of the day, I realized that success leaves clues. All sales comes down to is how to articulate a couple sentences with a nice tone and pace, and then just doing it over and over and over again. So right away, early on, I figured if these two can do it, I'm going to ask them a million questions to figure out how I can duplicate their success. So one of the first lessons I want to get across is number 1, ask yourself, why not you? Number 2 is figure out who is the person that you can emulate and literally ask them everything about how do they get up and wake up, run their schedule, how do they organize their life, how many leads do they buy, what do they say in the intro of the call, what's their tonality and pace. Like, just get all of the insights and then start practicing it and executing it. So that's number one. Number two, this is for everybody. If you're not in a place in your business right now, I want you guys to decide right now to do a 90-day sprint, because in 90 days, your life and your financial situation can totally change. A couple things will happen in 90 days. One, you're going to change and you're going to be in a better position that you once were. Number two, you're slowly going to see that up and up ascension, and you're going to continue to carry on. Or after 90 days, let's be upfront. You're not going to get the result you wanted. You don't enjoy doing that. That's okay. Go back to what you were doing. But at least give it everything you got. Because what I've learned in my 4 years of being here, success, it all comes down to a very simple equation. The more that you're willing to give up, the more you're willing to get. So it's all about sacrifice, because you have to remove things in your life, habits, people, your lifestyle, in order to replace them with the things that you desire. So this is a good exercise. But I always have my agents, well, not my agents, but the agents on my team write down what are the key things that they're going to be willing to sacrifice when they come on board with us in order to get the outcome they desire. And it's also a good question for you guys if you haven't done it. So boom, a couple things when you're new. Now, as a manager and a new agent, here's going to be an equation that I use to diagnose any type of problem you have in this business. So if a rep calls me and goes, dude, I'm like barely making money, da 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 da, and he has like all these crazy things going on, I look at this equation. It goes, what's their lead flow? How many presentations do they get a day? And how many do they close? So it all starts with leads. So it's lead flow, presentations, and closes. But this is how you can diagnose anybody's problem, unless they're asking for life advice, which they shouldn't be coming to me for. But if they're not getting, let's say they're like, dude, I'm not making enough money here. And they go, like, I'm only getting like 1 presentation or 2 presentations out a day. I'm like, great. When was the last time you brought fresh leads? Well, I haven't brought fresh leads in 2 weeks. Okay, so you've been dialing the same numbers that I haven't picked up for the last 2 weeks, and you're expecting a different result, right? Yeah, okay. So the only thing we need to fix is, you got to get new leads, dude. Now, let's say he's getting enough presentations, he's buying leads. He's like, but dude, I'm getting 6 to 8 presentations every single day, but I'm only closing like 1 deal every 2-3 days. All right, now I know that he needs help closing, and that's a super easy fix. Now I can focus on, getting him with myself or assign him a mentor and really focus on closing. But as a manager and a new agent, that's going to be your equation to figure out how you have discernment on the problem. So that's that. Now, a couple other things, this is mainly for people that are new, is pay your business first, because your insurance business is essentially the golden goose that lays you golden eggs. If you pay your mortgage or something else first, I understand you guys got to take care of your families, but you can always get an ROI with your leads. Pay your business first so it can pay your bills. I'm not going to over-explain that. Now, the last thing regarding being new, having success here is, at the end of the day, every single one of us have gone through the same type of hardships, and we've all thought to ourselves, is this really going to work? So you have to reach out to somebody that is where your desired outcome is, because a lot of you on this call, even though I don't know you, if you guys sell 15K a month, typically people are talking to people at the same level where they're selling 15K. You guys need to have at least 2 to 3 mentors that are above you, essentially, in terms of success in the business, where you can seek advice from, because you have to be very aware of where you're getting your advice from. And you don't want to talk to people on the same level, because you're going to stay on the same level. And then the last thing, guys, is just stay consistent. Like, at the end of the day, what we do is not rocket scientists. Like, honestly, the best people in this business are just mules, people that know how to work hard, wake up every single day and don't think too much and just do the dirty work. Like, you got to chop the wood and carry the water. So that's what I have for you guys in terms of being new. Now, who in here wants to grow a successful team? Put a 2 in the chat for me. Awesome. Sweet. So one of the most powerful questions you have to ask yourself is, why do you actually want to build? And everyone talks about like having a strong why and stuff. Something I like thinking about is, what are you guys going to do if this doesn't work out? Like, I know Rami really well on this call, and I don't need Rami for you to unmute or anything, but I would like to ask, like, Rami, if this thing didn't work out, dude, like, what do you do? Like, what do you go back to? Working in the hospital again? That is a bigger why than financial freedom for Rami. I'll tell you that much. Because sometimes knowing what you're going to go back to is a bigger why than the actual desired outcome. So that's the first thing you guys want to figure out. Now, why actually build a business? There's 2 reasons. So my goal was to make money from day one with this thing. And I always thought to myself, if I could get 5 of my buddies all selling $20,000 a month, my team would be doing 100K. If I had 10 points on my team, that's $10,000 of override a month. 10K in override a month covers all my basic expenses and a good portion of my lead bill. And I was like, what's easier, to find 5 people and teach them how to sell insurance at a high level, or to invest in all these real estate properties and, you know, somehow get an ROI? Because everyone talks about real estate. I was like, I can easily find 5 of my friends that are ready to, you know, go to war with me. So I want you guys to think about the first 5 people, and I'm going to talk about a couple tactical things. Now, the second reason is you guys are providing so much value to people. So, funny story, I grew up with this kid named Christian Jimenez. Me and him have known each other since like this 3rd grade. And the first day I ever met him, we were playing football and in recess out in the yard. And I was hiking the ball. And so I'm like, down, set, blue 42 set. And all of a sudden I hear like little pitter patter. And this kid just kicks me in the balls as hard as he can. Like, I don't know what was going on in his right mind. Honestly, if he didn't hit me there, I should have killed him. But obviously I was winded. And so our nurse's office was right near our principal's office. So he's in the principal's, I'm in the nurse's. And we start talking crazy to each other. And I don't know how we became friends after that, but ever since that day, me and him have been like the best of buds, like thick as thieves. So we grew up, and I'm not going to go through my full backstory, but I was a very big troublemaker. I loved to party. Like, if you wanted to party and have a good time, like, you came to me. So in college, me and Chris partied really hard together, but we both looked at each other and we said, dude, this shit is not working anymore. Like, I'm going to wind up in jail and you're going to be dead, or vice versa. So like, we probably should part ways and kind of figure our lives out. So that's what we did. And I get a call from Chris a year later. And he goes, dude, I see you in this insurance thing, like doing, you know, all right for yourself. Like, can I get a job? I was like, no, you cannot. I was like, there's no way I'm working with you, bro. And
For
dude, he
blood
kept
pressure
calling me.
medicine?
He kept calling me. And finally, he opened up to me, because he was never vulnerable. Like, I think as a man, like, it's hard to be vulnerable with some of your buddies. And he goes, dude, I got Michelle pregnant and I'm working construction still, dog. I can't pay the bills, especially when I have a kid on the way. Like, dude, I literally have to figure something out. I was like, all right, Chris, you're going to have to change a lot about yourself to make this work. And so we laid it out. Now Chris sells 40 families every month. His team does 150 families a month. He has 2 children, and it's completely changed his life. And it's one of the most powerful stories because it really hits home for me. But think about what this business has done for you and done for other people in your life. And think about the impact that you have over other people. So it's selfish, 1, not to share this opportunity. Number 2, there's a study done in Harvard where if you have somebody within your group, it raises your bar by 34%. So your performance increases by 34%. Because when you have a running buddy, somebody that you compete with on a day-to-day basis, when you don't want to hop on Zoom at 9 o'clock, but you know it's their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th day dialing, dude, you bet your ass you're going to be there at 9 a.m. And excuse me for swearing, but Actually, I'm not going to apologize for that. Anyway, so that's that. Now I'm going on a little tangent. So we got why build, right? You guys understand that. Now let's talk about the avenues to actually go out and find recruits. So there's a couple ways. The first is warm market. The second way is cold market. Third way is going to be your social media. And then the fourth way is tap rooting. So your agent's warm market. Those are like the four main avenues. So I want to talk about the first way, your friends. Every single one of you guys has contacts in your phones. I want you tonight or during this call or whenever the hell you're going to do it, but do it today, because I'm going on a little tangent, but I hate when people say knowledge is power, because I know a lot of super smart people and they've never done shit in their life. Execution is power. Like executing on what you know is actually what makes you money. So I want you to go through your phone. I want you to think about what are the 3 to 4 attributes that make somebody successful here. For me, it's people that are hardworking, people that are accountable. I like people that are fearless. And then I like people that have gratitude. And so whatever your attributes are, I want you to write them down. And then I want you to go through your phone and think about who are the 5 to 10 people that align with these attributes that I want on my team or I think can be successful. Write their names down, and then we're going to discuss how to call them up and how to actually hire them and not make it weird. Okay. But you guys have to understand, you have to have a good eye, like Rami was talking about, in terms of what he's looking for. I used to hire everybody under the sun. I take about 3 to 4 interviews to hire one person. So I'll do 3, 4 interviews before I hire anybody. But let's talk about your warm market. So how do you actually call them up? In the beginning, I would just call my buddies like, dude, like, you will not believe it, man. I found the craziest job in the world. I'm making 40, 50K every single month right now. Like, dude, life is amazing, da, 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 da. And all my friends were like, hold up. Dude, that sounds way too good to be true. We know who you are, Wylie. You're a hooligan. There's no way. But what I realized was if you pitch people indirectly, it goes a long way. So I call this method throwing the line over their head. So I just did this with one of my friends. He works at a hotel. His name's Blake. Blake is charismatic. Blake is very disciplined. And Blake, let's just use those two because honestly, those are the only two I'm going to be able to remember right now. Charismatic and disciplined, right? Hard worker. Actually, never mind. How could I forget that? This dude is a super hard worker. He works at a hotel. So this is what it looks like to throw the line over someone's head. I call up Blake. I'm like, hey, dude, long time no see. How are you, bro? Dude, I'm good. I'm good. How's the missus, man? When are you guys getting married? Oh, we get married next summer. Cool, dude. Hey, bro, the reason I was reaching out, man, was I actually just got started in a sales job, and I kind of got thinking about you because right now my manager just said there's a couple positions open. And it looks like right now our average agent's making about 15K a month. I've been able to see 9K come in so far my first like 30 days being here. And we're looking for people that are hardworking, that are disciplined, and that are charming. Now, Blake, I know that you're really comfortable with where you're at. So I just wanted to know, since you're a well-connected guy, is there anybody that you could think of that you could connect me with that you think would be a good fit here? And Blake's gonna, well, when I called him, Blake was like, I mean, yeah, sure. Like I could get you connected. I was like, all right, cool, dude. Like always good to hear from you, bro. Like just let me know if you send me a referral, I'll send you $250 for it, or at least my manager will. Just let me know, bro. I gotta go, but let's catch up and get lunch. What do you think Blake's thinking? Wait, the average agent makes 12K a month with there's 3 spots. Wait, the attributes need are hardworking, charming, and disciplined. Dude, that's me. And Wylie, I'm not comfortable with where I'm at. So you want to throw a little jab in there, but you want to throw it over his head. And 2 things have happened while I've done this process. Is one, people do send you referrals. Like we got a guy that sells 30 families every single month. He was a car salesman of a friend of mine that I did this with. And my buddy does not work here, but he referred me to this dude. He's been with us for like 18 months, keeps himself, sells, happy, good. So that's the first way. Now, Let's talk about cold market. Cold market. So this is what I shared in Vegas, but I think this is one of the most powerful and tactical things you can do on a daily basis. But I'm just recently moved down to North Carolina, and where I live is called Hickory. It's like this tiny little town, and like the average age of people here are like 68. And I'm like, I need to hang out with like younger people. And so I was like, how can I do that? I was like, I'll sign myself up for like a men's basketball league. So I signed myself up, and they're like, dude, like we always play on Friday, like we do like open runs. So I start going to all these open runs, and there's this dude that comes in. He's like a super gritty guy. He's always like hustling for the ball, setting heavy screens, rebounding, playing lockdown defense. Just like you just know, dude, this guy's just a grinder. And anytime like I missed a shot, and if I missed like 2 or 3 in a row, he's like, Wylie, pick your chin up, pick your chin up. Like he was lifting me up and he didn't even know me. I was like, dude, this guy would be phenomenal at what we do. So we get done and we're lacing up and putting our balls away and stuff. And he's like, we're just small talking. He's like, remind me what you do. And usually, guys, I respond with 3 things. I'm in sales, I'm in financial services, or I run a life insurance agency. But honestly, how boring does any 3 of those sound? Like that's just boring. And so I was like, dude, I'm in sales. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And just carries on and moves and then gets up and starts leaving. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no. I'm like, dude, how do I articulate this message so he understands like how amazing this opportunity is? So I sit down with Sean, Mike, in March, I believe, and I share this with him, and he's like, dude, do this thing called a 90-second pitch. So now if Frank were to go, hey, Wylie, what do you do? I'd be like, honestly, man, Frank, look, I got the best job ever, bro. So growing up, my parents were split up, right? Mom worked a 9 to 5, dad ran his own company. I'd spend a week with mom, spend a week with my dad. Now with my mom, like we weren't dead broke, but money was really tight. And at the end of the month, electricity would go out, all we'd be eating was soup. And then with my dad, we'd be able to go out to dinner, go on vacation, do our thing. So really early on in my life, I knew I wanted to be in business. And Frank, probably like you, dude, I went to college thinking that was going to be the best route, but I realized right away it wasn't. So I meet this gentleman named G who walks, well, actually, he was a friend of mine. He walks in my door and he's smiling ear to ear. Biggest smile I've ever seen on his face. I'm like, G, what's going on? Why are you so excited? He's like, dude, I just made $1,000 in an hour. I said, what? And he's like, you selling dope? He's like, no, 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 no. He's like, dude, I'm selling life insurance. And I thought to myself, well, golly, dude, that sounds super weird, but how does it work? And he breaks it down. He says, dude, you get warm leads within an hour call. You can make $1,000. I was like, dang. I was like, okay. And so I was like, why don't I just give this a shot? And what happened, Frank, was my first month, dude, I was like, if I can make 2 sales a week, that's 8K a month. And guess what, dude, that's exactly what happened. I don't know about you, but have you ever thought about sales? And so when someone asks me what I do, that is literally verbatim what I tell them. So it's the 90-second pitch. I'm going to teach you guys how to build yours really quick. So in a 90-second pitch, well, first off, let me explain why. When you meet someone new, what are like one of the first things they ask you? What do you do for work? Like when you're on the plane, when you're at a barbecue, what do you do for work? If you don't have a good answer for it, you're leaving so much potential on the table. So just to really drive this thing home, me and the whole agency, we practice our 90-second pitches all the time. It's like one of the first things we teach people when they start building. And when we first started doing this, after I met with Sean in March, me and my like managers, we were out in Florida, and my buddy was valeting his car. And this kid, like we had all these like nice rental cars and whatever. He's like, hey man, like what do y'all do? And Chris, who I shared about, does his 90-second pitch. Now this kid, he does it on his name, Max. Max has been with us for 3 weeks. Max has sold $22,000 in 3 weeks, and he has 2 guys underneath him that have both sold 5K. Now, we've never met Max, ever. This was just a dude valeting our car in Orlando, Florida. I've never been in Orlando, Florida in my life besides that one time. So Max will be a 30 family. I'm sorry that you guys are recording this and I keep speaking numbers, but 30K producer. Yeah, okay, cool. I see Frank. We're good. And, you know, his team will be at 150K within 4 or 5 months, and he's 20 years old. It's like, if we didn't do that, like, where would Chris's team be? So how do you build it? First, you have to have a strong intro. What I would suggest is just saying, honestly, man, I got the best job ever. So when Bryce goes, Wylie, what do you do for work? Dude, honestly, I got the best job ever. Right away, what the hell do you do? Then from there, you want to open up about your story. Think about the things that are relatable. Almost everybody I know has divorced parents. Like, or everyone's came from some type of poverty that at least I grew up with. So that's why I share that. Then the second thing, the reason why I shared about college is because everybody goes to college. And then the third thing I share is, so essentially, first part, strong intro. Second part is going to be your story. Be vulnerable, be open, because the more vulnerable you are, then people can see your path and that you're only a few steps ahead of them. And they're like, dude, I'm on the same track as this guy. Then from there, you want to give them small little details about what you do. So that's why I said warm leads. Within an hour, you can make a sale for this much. And then I give them my result. But I'm not telling them that I put up 47K my second month. I'm giving them a reasonable number. Hey, dude, I made 8 grand, 9K, whatever the hell I said. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I usually make that part up because my first month I did like 18K and I don't think people believe it. So I just usually say like I did 9K. Right? And then after that, you got to close. Are you happy with where you're at? Have you ever thought about sales? Or like whatever's natural? Like, what do you do, bro? But like, what's going to happen is if they're curious, they're going to start engaging with you and asking you questions. And then that's when you know, to continue on. If they don't engage and they're like, oh, bro, that's cool, whatever, I'm not pushing it. At least like he knows now. So that's the 90-second pitch. I think that's a great exercise for every single buddy on this call to practice. It's just a good life skill in general. Now, the next thing I'm going to share, because I'm going to have to hop off here in 9 minutes, is how many of you guys have hired people and they've never gone through the coursework, never did contracting, never sold? Like, yeah, awesome. Okay. So our agency, I don't know the stat on it last year, but the year before that, we were number 2 in the whole company from getting someone from hired to paid. And I'm very, very proud of that. And it's because we developed a model called the 3-step interview process. So what is the 3-step interview process? Let's break it down a little bit more. Why do you think people get hired here and do not come through? Well, it's because of lack of belief. Because if they knew at the end of the day that they could get the result that Bryce got, Mike, Frank, Rami, they 100% would do it. And I'll share this metaphor, but if I'm like, hey, Frank, I got $1 million for you, brother. I let him feel the cash. He can roll around with it, pretend to play on the phone with it, like have fun, whatever. But then I shut the briefcase and I take the $1 million back. I said, sorry, Frank, I will give you this $1 million in 30 days. But every single day, I need you to be up at 6 a.m. You cannot drink. You cannot use any nicotine. And you have to read your Bible every day. Now, the question for Frank is the reward worth the obstacle that he has to go to? And I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That'd be a quick million, quick million, right, Frank? Would you do it? Hell yeah. Okay, so Frank would do it. Why is that? It's because the reward is so high that the obstacles don't matter. So your goal is to figure out how can you make the opportunity so exciting for them that getting through the coursework, contracting, hearing the no's on their first dial day is all worth it. Now let's dive into how do you do that. 3-step interview. The first interview is simple. You want to get a good idea of what is their situation, and then ask them questions like, what would you change about your current role if you could change anything? It's a really powerful question. So I just got done talking to a door-to-door guy. I said, dude, you've been on the doors for 2.5 years. If you could change 2 things about the door-to-door industry, what would it be? Dude, I would honestly change us not having leads. Like, I wish we could have some type of lead system. I was like, great. I'm like, this is like gonna be like taking candy from a baby. And he's like, and I don't like leaving my family every summer. Even better. And now I'm just joking a little bit, having a little fun on tonight's call. But in all seriousness, you do want to ask them, what are the two things you would change? And then you fill FFL's system with their two pain points. It's like finding the why. So then what I'm really focusing on is, obviously I'm telling about commission and you know, all the good stuff, but I'm really letting them know, like, dude, what's amazing here is two things. One, we're a lead-based model. I explain how leads work. I give them a good expectation of when you buy this many leads, if you work this hard, here's the average result. Now, the second thing, dude, you don't have to leave. Like, you don't have to like go anywhere and travel. Like, you can be home with your, he was married. And so I was like, you can be home with your wife. When, you know, she wants to talk to you at lunch, you can come downstairs and hang out with her for an hour. Right. I was like, but you still got to be disciplined. He's like, dude, like, that's all I want, bro. I just want to be able to see her at night and not have to do this and this and be gone for the summer. I'm like, great. So that's the first interview. Now, do not hire them on the first call, because everyone shows you their best colors the first call. The second call, your job is to do third-party validation. So this is the most important call. This is where you take somebody within the agency that's going to relate to that prospect, and you put them on the phone together. And then that person is going to share their story and how long it took them to get the result. So I haven't done this with this dude yet, but I've done this 100+ times. I'm going to get someone within our group that's in door to door, that's within under 6 months being here, and I'm going to have them walk him through, what was month one like? What were his skepticisms? When he was here, how did those skepticisms go away? What was month two like? What was month three? What's his result now? How many hours a week does he work? How many leads does he buy? How many trainings? Boom, boom, boom. I'm literally going to have that dude share everything about the expectation of this job, right? So then he hears my story, my success, and he hears a guy that's just in the exact same position. So now what do you think happens? His belief goes from like lukewarm to he's feeling the Holy Spirit. Like, he's up there, baby. All right. You know, we got to get him in the water, baptize him. So that's the second call. The third call is going through and telling him, this is everything bad about working here. There are chargebacks. You are going to have to work Monday through Friday, X amount of hours. You are going to fall into a trap where you have a little bit too much success and you get happy. And then we're going to have to kind of step this thing up. I'm just going to go through like, dude, like, here's everything you need to know about this job. Are you on board? If they get to that point, like 99% of people are like, yes. Then I'm like, why? Why? Because you can make money fucking anywhere. So why do you want to work here? And they close themselves. Well, Wylie, because of this, 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 and this. Great. Cool. If me and you were to start today, right? And within a year, you had the best year of your life financially, what would that look like? Give me a number. Honestly, dude, I've never cracked 6 figures. All right, let's make it 120K. Okay, cool. That sounds great. What is that broken down into months? That's $10,000 a month. Cool. What is that a week? 4 weeks in a month? 2,500. Quick math. Okay. So to make 2,500 a week of net profit, here's what you need to do. You need to buy X amount of leads. You need to get 6 to 8 presentations a day. And you need to show up on all the Zooms and be unmuted on our Zoom. If you can do that, you can get the result, right? Like, okay, so now I have everything mapped out for him. And then the last thing, guys, is this is my non-negotiable, Frank, if Frank's my recruit. I'm going to be sending you over all the information on how to get your license and, you know, how to do all that fun stuff. It's going to give you the full thing. It's a 20-hour course. If you do not complete it in 2 weeks, we will not work together. because there's no reason that you could convince me that it takes you 2 weeks, that something takes 20 hours. There's nothing. There's no reason why. Is that fair? Wylie, that's fair. Awesome, bro. Let me know when you have that. So, boom, that's the interview process. Now this is the last thing, and then Mike, I'll probably have time for like one question, dude, or anything, but I do got to run. So the last thing is this: actions speak louder than words. And I know that you guys have all heard that, but I really need you guys to understand this. I do not care what people tell me anymore in business about they're going to do this for me, or they're going to be my number one guy, they're going to build a big business. I just want to see how quickly they move. So the best thing that I can give you from this third party, the 3-step interview system, is send them a video and a task between every interview. So you send them something to watch between interview number 1 and 2. If someone cannot watch a 20-minute long video between a 12-hour, 24-hour day, I'm not working with them. There's zero chance I'm working with you if you cannot watch a damn YouTube video. I don't care. That means you're not disciplined with your schedule, you're not accountable, and you don't actually care about this thing. So be it. Get off the boat. But you do that between those 2 calls, 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. And then you ask them, what'd you like about the call? What type of questions do you have? And then you can see how serious, how articulate, what type of person this person is. So in a nutshell, folks, that's what I got for you guys.
Well, 2 things real quick, because I know you got to go. One, Kali had a great question. What leads are your new people starting on?
We just do vet leads.
All vet leads. And then number 2, what has happened since you hired the social media guy? That what's that done for you in terms of growing your business with the way the social media looks?
All right. Yeah. So social media, I'll show you this. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson started a tequila company, and in his first year it did $1 billion of revenue. Kylie Jenner owns a cosmetic company, and she's the youngest billionaire on the planet, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's 100% right. Those 2, in my opinion, are no better at business than I am. I know that might sound arrogant, but I'm going to be straight up. Maybe they're a little bit better. But the real reason is they have a brand behind them. The brand is the best thing on the planet that you can have, because when people follow me on Instagram, it's it's an endless marketing drip. That is where 95% of my recruits come from. So I know my Instagram might look like very polished, but guys, I've been doing Instagram for like 3 years, dumping tons of money into it. And like, I feel like I just kind of started figuring it out. If you want to like get some advice, my Instagram is Hawkins. It's right there. Hawkins_Wylie. But
And that was great, man. I appreciate it. I know you got to go and run your team call, but you dropped a bunch of good information for the group. Frank, you got anything for him?
No, dude, I can't add anything to that. That was so good.
We will put the recording
Thank
out
you.
for everyone. Wylie, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. And always look forward to talking to you, but
I appreciate you guys. Keep doing your thing. I'll see you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
bud.
brother.
Bye.